Right, good afternoon, everyone. We're all welcome to this information session for the January 2025 intake. We're just going to give a few minutes for more people to join in as we start the presentation, and I'll just start my screen. I have some colleagues here on the call with me, whom I will introduce shortly. I'm just going to share my screen now. Okay, so while we just give a couple of minutes for more people to join in, I'm just going to say a few things that is expected of us during this session. I know a lot of us are eager to get all the relevant information we need. I know a lot of us are eager to get questions answered. You have a lot of questions you want to ask about your admission process. Some of you are experiencing some sort of delays, whether with getting your unconditional offer or getting your CAS request process completed. Please feel free to use the Q&A box all through this section. You don't have to wait until the end of the presentation to ask your questions. If you have any question, please feel free to ask your question and we will be happy to provide answers. However, please note that we will not be responding to any application queries during this personal application queries during this session. So, for example, you want to say, oh, mass has been delayed. What do I do? We will provide you guidance to different sorts of situations, but we will not be responding to individual application queries. If you have any question around your anything that affects your application, whether getting your unconditional offer, confirming your fee payment, or your CAS request, please feel free to send us an email, as you should. If it's finance, you can send an email to the finance team. If it's a CAS-related issue, you can send an email to the CAS team. And if it is an admission issue, please feel free to send an email to the admissions team. Okay, so that's the first thing. We will not be answering specific personal application queries. We will just respond to general issues. Another thing I want us to take note of is in the course of the session, some people will ask questions and colleagues will be responding to the question as the presentation goes on. Please always make sure you read through the Q&A session because someone else might have asked your question and an answer might have been provided, okay? So please engage the Q&A as much as you can, all right? There is no unimportant question. Every question is important. And I hope you have a nice time during this presentation as we start. I think we have a lot of people now on the call. Okay, so welcome to the University of Salford January 2025 intake information session for Nigerian students specifically. We set up this session because we know that this process is a daunting process. It can be very, very tasking and overwhelming for some people. And we just feel that this session will provide you clarity. It will give you perspective and exact instructions, what you need to do at every stage you find yourself, okay? But I'm just going to play this video briefly. Let me know if the sound is not okay. I'm going to play this video for us so that we can just see some highlights from the campus. Um, okay. Someone said no sound. Just gonna, I don't know why the sound is not playing.
That's pretty good being able to sit on the train.
Salford 1, London 0.
A cheaper cost of living.
Cheaper and better.
Listen up. It's one northern story.
It's how we became unstoppable.
Make no mistake.
We always thought London was where he was at.
London, London, London.
But in Salford,
everything a big city has to offer.
everyone just has a place here.
Actual friendly people.
It's in the Norse nature.
You'll feel supported.
And connected to the things that matter.
Do you know what? It's actually pretty good being able to sit on the train.
Salford 1, London 0.
A cheaper cost of living.
Cheaper and better.
The exciting bit is discovering opportunities that'll make you stay. These are the hours in which we find our voice.
These are the days that define us.
An abundance of opportunities to push our limits.
We now have the courage.
To take charge of our dreams.
This all makes Salford
And Salford made us.
Unstoppable.
Okay, so those are just brief video highlights for you to just see how the university works, what the university has to offer. So a brief history about the University of Salford. I know a lot of you already know, but for those who don't know, the university was founded as a Royal Technical Institution in 1896, attained its university status in 1967. It's a campus-based university with over 21,000 students, and we were one of the first universities to introduce placement years on our program. So what are the key things you need to know about Salford? We're in the northwest of England. We're located next to Manchester, and we form part of Greater Manchester. Everyone always wants to know how far the university is from London, because London is a popular destination in the UK. So it's only 2 hours by train to London. And as you know, the transport system in the UK is very fantastic. We have direct links throughout the UK. And we also have the Manchester International Airport, where you can travel from anywhere in the world. Okay, quick facts about Greater Manchester. We have about 2.8 million residents in Greater Manchester, and that makes it a very buzzing commercial city, because there are a lot of perks you get when you study in a metropolitan city, in a commercial-based city. You know that you can get the opportunity to experience the city in full, as opposed to universities located in the suburb. In Manchester alone, in the city of Manchester, we have over 100,000 students studying. As you know, we have so many other universities in Manchester, including the University of Salford. And we are famous for science, technology, culture, the arts, and of course, the football. Nobody talks about Manchester without talking about the football. And we're not too far away from the popular Trafford Stadium, and we're the most exciting city in the world, according to Times Out ranking as of 2021. This is a beautiful picture of the front view of our Peel Park campus, which you'll be attending very soon. I won't say visit, okay? Fingers crossed. And these are some other beautiful pictures. This is a night view of the Media City campus. As you know, we have different schools at the university. We have the business school, we have the School of Arts, Media, and Creative Technology. We have the School of Health and Society. We have the School of Science, Engineering, and Environment. And we also have Salford Languages. For those who don't know, the School of Salford Languages is where we have our international foundation year. Because we usually have a lot of postgraduate talks, that is master's application, people tend to forget that we also have foundation programs, which are the programs our UG students come on to before they start their undergraduate program at the university. And that program is under the Salford Languages schools, right? So quick one, our business school, some of these things are things you should already know about the business school. Please feel free to take a screenshot of any information you find useful. It is very important you have a good knowledge of the school your course belongs to, because you never know, as we will talk about later on in the presentation, UKVI might schedule you for a random credibility interview. So it's very important you take out time to do a bit of research about the school where you're studying. So the Salford Business School has lots of industry accredited courses with practical learning. That's one of the top reasons our students choose the University of Salford. Our learning is very practical. We simulate what happens in industry. And also we have work placement available across our UG and PGT programs. We have select programs which actually have that placement opportunities. And I always have people ask me, why is my placement opportunity not already stated on my offer? Well, this would only be made available to you when you complete your coursework. And I think when you're able to secure a place where you will do your placement, then the university will help you facilitate the rest of the process, including extending your visa. So just take note. This is something your school will guide you through when you get to that point. We also have flexible PGT intakes all year round. We used to have 5 for those of you who are not new, but now we have just 3 intakes. We have intakes in September, we have intake in June, which is what you are preparing for right now, and we have another intake in we have intakes in September, January, and June. The June intake is mainly for selected business courses. So if perhaps you're on this call and you're thinking you might not be able to follow through with your application process for January 2025 and you are doing a business course, it would be nice for you to check our intake available page on the website to see what courses are available for you in June and defer your program until that time, or look for an alternative program that's still suitable to your career path, okay? And most of our programs have relevant professional accreditation, like the ACCA, the Chartered Institute of Marketing, the Institute of Direct and Digital Marketing, Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. And so many subject areas are covered in our business school, like the accounting and finance, business and management, digital business, event management, human resources management, law, marketing, and tourism management. Like I said earlier, you have the option to take a 1-year paid work placement on your PGT programs within the business school, and the programs are listed to your right on the screen. You apply for a 1-year program and extend your visa once you have secured the position. There's an additional cost, which includes the university placement fee. And, you might be lucky to get a placement opportunity that pays you between 18 to 20,000 pounds per year, depending on the course you've studied, depending on the previous experience you have, and so many other things, accounts for this opportunity. All right, you study for 2 semesters and the placement takes place in the 3rd semester, and then you're back to university for your final semester, which is your portfolio and your reflection write-up. If you have any question, ask in the chat box. If something we can give you a general response to, we will, but if it's more specific, you can send us an email. All right, moving on quickly to the School of Arts, Media, and Creative Technology. We have subject areas like art and design, dance, English, fashion, journalism, film, TV, and media, history and politics, music, and performance. So School of Arts and Media, we call it SAMCT for short, is one of the largest institutions for arts and media in the UK. As you know, School of Media is located in the Media City, where you have top media companies located there, BBC, ITV, and the likes. Of course, we have strong industry links and partnership for our School of Media and Creative Technology. And at the University Media School itself, we have industry standard equipment available for students across both the Peel Park and the Media City UK campuses. Moving on quickly to our School of Health and Society. So this is a forward-thinking school, faculty, where you have all, digital, the gadgets and equipment required for you to train adequately for whatever program you're training for, or in our School of Health and Society, especially our nursing programs. We have facilities like the Human Performance Laboratory, the Digital Imaging Suite, the Exercise Physiology Testing Service, the Prosthetic and Orthotics Laboratory. If you take time to go back to our university website and search for those things listed here, you'll find lots of explanations around the course you want to study at the School of Health and Society. And you would even find some useful videos that would give you more information about your program. Okay, so now the School of Science, Engineering and Environment, we have over 200 dedicated academic, technical, and administrative staff. And it's a very dynamic and collaborative environment where we have so many programs you can do. And a lot of our programs have the relevant accreditation. So courses like architecture, computer science, construction, quantity surveying, and aeronautical engineering, civil and structural engineering, electronic and mechanical engineering. We also have courses like cybersecurity, data science, and the likes. If you need full details of all the programs available in our School of Engineering and Environment, feel free to check. The fastest place you would find everything in one spot on the website is on the intake available page, and you click the drop down box for January intake and you find all the information there. Okay. And lastly, the Salford languages, like I said earlier, this is where we have our pre-sessional English programs and our international foundation year. Normally, Nigerian applicants would not need a pre-sessional English program, but applicants who have just finished their WIEC, their high school program, will need to take the one-year foundation program before they can progress on to whatever UG program they want to study at the university. And the international foundation year has 10 streams listed on the screen. All right, we have a long way to go. So I believe everyone on this call already has an offer of admission. Please ensure you listen carefully, because I'm sure somewhere in one of these slides, you get answers to any question you might be asking. All right. If you currently hold a conditional offer, you need to ensure you meet all the conditions stated on your offer, including paying your initial deposit. A lot of times when I get emails or phone calls or WhatsApp messages from applicants, I realize that more often than not, a lot of applicants have not taken time to read the entire information on your offer letter, including your terms and conditions. And that's why, you don't just get all the directions you need from the start. You see that offer letter you have received, it has information about how you pay your tuition fee, if you want to pay online with a card, if you want to pay through Flywire, contact details from the admission team is there. If you read the terms and conditions, for those of you that might have situations that will require a refund, all the conditions are already stated in your offer letter. And if your course is already filled up and you confirm your place on the program, you might be deferred until the next available intake for your program when your confirmation is received and updated. And if you think you cannot continue with your admission process for January intake, you can also defer your admission. Let me just say something about being deferred to the next intake. Of course, in the last 2 weeks, we've had a lot of complaints about from people saying, I paid my fees, I got my unconditional offer, and it was for another intake. That has happened to you because the particular program you have applied for is already filled up. It means there are people who also got their offer and paid their fees, and the program is already at capacity. So it can no longer take new people. So I see some email, very lengthy email saying, no, I really want this January. If you ever get that email from the admissions team, just know that you will no longer be able to do that program for this January intake. For those who are on the business course, please either while you're on this call or after this call, go back to the page on our website where we have our June 2025 intake and see the list of business courses available. I'm telling you, you will be surprised that before the end of January, half of the courses will be midway filled up, because a lot of people who were deferred from this January intake and they deferred till June. So popular courses like project management, international business, MSc management, those courses by now are already a quarter filled up, because we have people who were deferred automatically onto that intake. So if you think you can't follow up with this intake, or you received that kind of email from the admissions team saying that your offer is now for June, please ensure you confirm your place. If you have not yet paid and you're hearing this information now, your best decision will be to defer onto the next intake, pay your fees, and secure your place on that program. Okay. Now, for those of you who feel, oh, this is too much, I don't think I'm ready at this time, I would like to defer my offer, that's fine. You can defer your admission by logging into your application portal to initiate your deferral request. The admissions team always prefer you initiate this process online on your application portal. So if you have applied to the university directly, you should have access to your application portal and you can defer your program. Ensure you select your next preferred intake, okay? Like I said earlier, the next intake is June, but that intake is specifically for some business courses. Any course that is no longer available for January for you now, the next opportunity will be September 2025. Okay, if you have applied through an agent, one of our approved agents, you can get in touch with your agent and they will help you defer your admission accordingly, because if you've used an approved agent, you will not have direct access to your application portal. Okay, if you do not receive feedback from the admissions team, say between 5 to 10 working days, because it's always very busy, you can send a follow-up email to the admissions team. And once the deferral request is processed, you should receive an updated offer letter for your next chosen intake. All right. Now, how do you pay your fees? For those who still want to pay your fees, maybe your course is still open, there are still places on your courses. The university only accepts payments through two means. I got a call this afternoon. Someone said, oh, I'm not paying through card. I want the bank details, the university bank details. We don't have any university bank details to share at the University of Salford. We used to, but we stopped that process a while ago. So now the only acceptable means of payment is through an online card payment, which you can use any card from anywhere in the world. It doesn't have to be a UK card. It can be from anywhere in the world. As long as that card, it can be a debit or a credit card, as long as it is enabled to take international transactions. Unfortunately, a lot of our Nigerian domiciliary cards sometimes fail when you want to use this. If you intend to use your maybe USD cards for your Nigerian bank, please get in touch with your bank to understand the restrictions around your card. All right. If you're not paying online, if you're not using the card payment option, you can pay through bank transfer using Flywire. The Flywire information is on your offer letter. It's also on the university website. We do not accept cash payment or UK bank transfer. So some people have asked me, oh, I have my family who wants to pay through bank transfer from the UK. They will not be able to do that using Flywire. Flywire is mainly meant for payment, bank transfers from Nigeria. Okay. Or yeah. So if you're not paying through Flywire, you'll be paying with a card. And when you want to make your payments, you need to contact the finance team to get a payment link, or you pay over the phone. And you have a link on the screen to know where you can get more information about how to pay your tuition fee. Another question we get asked is there a tuition fee deposit deadline? No. We don't have a specific deadline for tuition fee payment. However, we have a CAS deadline, which already gives you a deadline, you understand, because you can't apply for your CAS without paying your tuition fee and having an unconditional offer. All right. So just like I've said earlier, how to pay your tuition fee. If you're using the card option, ensure you have a card enabled for international transaction. If you choose to use a third party, maybe a family friend or a relative card, ensure you have their permission to do so and make sure you know them. Because if you ever get to the point where you need a refund, that refund will be going back to source. So make sure you are using people who you know, people who you can follow up with if you have issues afterward. If you want to pay through card, again, you can contact the finance team either via phone or email to initiate the payment process. The finance email address is there on the screen. And once the finance team has confirmed your payments and your records are updated, the admissions team will send you an unconditional offer letter. Okay. And if you decide to use Flywire, you can log into to the Flywire page from your offer letter link. It's there. It's also there on the university website. Like I said earlier, you cannot make this payment from a UK bank account. Once you log into the Flywire page, you can select your preferred payment options and make the payment. It takes about 2 working days for the payment to clear into the university account. So for those of you who are hustling, quote and unquote, to still get a place on courses that are still open, if you decide to use the Flywire options, just take note that it will take about 2 working days for that update to clear into the university account. And please note that for those of you who have called me for different courses and I've confirmed to you, okay, we still have XYZ amount of places, know that that information is only relevant in real time. That information changes all the time. Anyone trying to confirm the place on the program that has very limited capacity, I would best advise you use an online payment because that option is instant, okay? And like I said earlier, always send your payment confirmation document to the finance team. That's the email address on the screen. And once they've confirmed your payment, your record will be updated and your unconditional offer letter will be sent to you by the admissions team. Please note, you don't need to send requests for your unconditional offer letter from the finance team. That's not their job. If you are following up on your unconditional offer letter, this will be an email directed to the admissions office. Okay. I think we've gone through this. These are some FAQs. I've already explained the payment options. Is there any discount for full tuition fee payment? Yes. If you choose to pay your fee in full, we offer a prompt payment discount of 3% on the net fee remaining after the scholarship has been applied. In how many installments can I pay my tuition fee? If you choose to pay your fee in installments, you will either pay in 5 consecutive monthly payments for undergraduate courses. So in this case, that'll be for the foundation applicants who have a January intake, and also for the top-up nursing programs, which is the only UG program we have for January, and 7 consecutive installment payment for our postgraduate courses. Now, this installment payment only starts 1 month after your official start date. What that means is that the first installments will start once you've registered, 1 month after you've registered at the university. Okay. So if you have any question, you're not still clear, drop a question in the chat box. The prompt payment discount we're talking about is for self-funding student, not for scholarship or sponsored student. Okay. So if you do so, you would qualify for a 3% discount on the fees you have paid for. You can always contact the finance team once you want to claim this prompt payment discount. All right, moving on to how to get your CAS. Please pay attention to this because this is one bottleneck a lot of our current applicants has. And I'm going to play this quick video. Let me know if there is no sound.
A confirmation of acceptance for studies, or CAS, is a unique reference number you receive from us to confirm we will be your student immigration sponsor. You need the CAS to apply for your student visa. Once you have an unconditional offer to study at Salford, you are ready to apply for your CAS. You can apply for your CAS and visa 6 months before your course start date. We will contact you when it's time for you to apply for your CAS. It can take some time for us to process your documents, so please wait for us to email you. Our CAS team will email you with instructions for how to request your CAS. You will be asked to confirm if any of your personal details have changed since you got your unconditional offer, as it's very important that all details are correct in your CAS. Depending on which country you are from, you may need to upload some documents which comply with Home Office requirements. You may need to show you can financially support yourself to live and study in the UK. You can provide any of the following financial documents. Bank statements showing the full amount has been in there for a minimum period of 28 days. It must be in your name or your parents' name, and it must not be a company account. The date shown on your bank statement should be within 31 days of your visa application. Bank letter with official stamp or signature. Education loan letter, only from a recognised bank offering official loan schemes for specified educational purposes. Fixed deposit certificate. This must specify a date of maturity for the funds before the course starts. Building Society passbooks, or if your fees will be paid by an official sponsor such as the government or a multinational company, you will need a letter from them to confirm this. Nationals of certain countries will be required to upload a TB screening certificate. Remember to book your TB screening early, as the certificate is valid for 6 months, and use a Home Office approved testing centre. If you are asked to submit documents, you must personally upload them using the CAS request form, and do not email them to us. Once you have submitted your CAS request, we will send you an email to confirm when you can expect to receive your CAS. Make sure you upload all the correct documents, otherwise this can cause delays in getting your CAS. You can then use the CAS to apply for your student visa.
Okay, so I hope that video played okay for everyone. If your internet is okay, how do you request your CAS? Quickly, fulfill all your offer conditions, pay your tuition deposit of 5,500, complete your tuberculosis test at a UKVI approved center. You can always put this link, we'll get to that quickly, and then have your completed proof of funds, that is your POF, your financial document for your student visa application. Now, step 1, how do you get your CAS? First thing, you need to check on your unconditional offer letter that all your personal details are correct. It is your responsibility to always check for the accuracy of your personal details, your personal information on all your admission documents. So things like your names, your date of birth, your passport number, whatever it is, your salutation, whether you're a Mr. and you've been addressed as a Miss and vice versa. Please always check your offer letter. I know a lot of us are usually excited. You get your offer letter and you just skim through. Take your time to look at everything on your offer letter and make sure your details are correct. If any of your details have changed or are not correct, you need to send an email to the CAS team. You should include any evidence. For example, maybe at the time you started your admission application, you had a passport that was almost expiring and you're already in the process of doing a new one. Once the new passport is ready, please ensure you send the upload your new passport on your application portal, first of all, and also make sure you send the copy of that new passport to the CAS team, okay? Remember, as soon as you have an unconditional offer, you are ready to apply for your CAS. I still get a lot of people say that, oh, I didn't realize that there's a pre-CAS process. Yes, at the University of Salford, we have a pre-CAS process for all our students, okay? Once you meet all your offer conditions, including paying your fees, we still have to check your documents before issuing you a CAS. Step 2, you need to read the CAS request email from our CAS assessment team with the instructions on how to get your CAS. So you fill your CAS form, you make your CAS request on the Advantage link. It's always provided in the offer letter. Information will be that will be requested will include your name, passport number, cost details. Please ensure that these details you're providing are all accurate. Once you're happy about with your personal details, you then go ahead to upload your financial and medical documents on the system called Advantage. That's where you request your CAS. One thing I'd like to say is sometimes your CAS request process gets delayed because the documents you upload on the portal are not clear. Sometimes the documents are blurry. And by the time the CAS team gets to your document, they ask you to send the document again and you go back on the queue. Please view your documents before you upload them on the portal. Make sure you use a proper scanner to scan your documents and view them. Ensure they're accessible before you upload them on the Advantage link, okay? And ensure you upload the correct documentation when you're requesting your CAS. Step 3, someone from our CAS team will send you an email to confirm when you will get your CAS, or if you need to send further information. You have the CAS email address on the screen. So if you're required to upload supporting documents to request your CAS, you should expect to receive an automatic email to acknowledge your CAS request. And once you've done all that, then you just need to wait until the date the CAS team has given you that your CAS will be ready. So for example, if the CAS team says to you, your CAS will be ready, say on the 5th of November, for example, today, and you don't get the CAS at the end of the day, you can follow up the next day to say, oh, I was supposed to get my CAS yesterday and, I didn't get it. Honestly, I wouldn't say it's a CAS, there's a delay if it's just a day after the CAS date from the CAS team. But if you get a delay, for example, like a day after the date the CAS team has given you, please feel free to send a follow-up email to the CAS team. Another important step in the CAS request process is a pre-CAS activity or the compulsory research activity that you have to complete. Yes, you've completed your CAS request and the CAS team has come back to you to tell you, Adedayo, your CAS will be ready on the 5th of November. On the 5th of November, yes. Also, make sure you look out from the email from the international team about the pre-CAS activities. This is the email where you'll be told to carry out some research activity. It will have a document containing some visa counseling questions, which you need to ensure you can answer. And there will also be some link to some videos which we've recorded in the past. We'll be replacing those videos soon. But for now, there are some links in the videos, in the email to watch some videos. I've seen a lot of people just skip that process. They don't bother to watch. They just say, oh, yes, I have done that. Please ensure you watch the videos because the information being shared in the video are a bit more detailed compared to the one you watched on this session, okay? Because they are more tailored to us in Nigeria. And also, the document attached in this email, we have a lot of questions that you need to answer. Do you need to type the responses to us? Not exactly, but ensure you sit down with those questions and provide answers one after the other. The reason we are subjecting you to this process is because we have seen a steady increase in the number of visa applicants being scheduled for a credibility interview, okay? And those are sample questions being asked during the credibility interview. For the last intake, we had loads of people who goofed the credibility interview and they got a refusal. We have a policy at Salford where we would not reissue you a new CAS if you get a visa refusal for a credibility reason. Okay, if you get a visa refusal for maybe for your money was short in your account, insufficient funds, and those other general reasons, when you provide your visa refusal note to the CAS team, they'll assess and determine if they'll give you, most likely they'll give you another CAS. But you see, if you get a visa refusal for credibility reasons, for credibility interview reasons, we will not issue you a CAS except you complete an administrative review and you have a positive feedback. The feedback from the administrative review will determine if we will be able to issue you a new CAS or not. And this administrative review process takes time. This is something you can check on the UKVI website. I'm praying, I hope that we will not have to get to that point, but we're saying this so that you can be prepared for your credibility interview. I've had people, I think a lot of you guys are in a lot of Telegram groups and WhatsApp groups and all that, and you get so many information. It's good to network, to keep loading on information, but please ensure that you are holding on to information that are relevant to you, because there's so many misleading information out there. I've heard people say, oh, they only schedule people who have gap years in study for credibility interview. No, this year, this last September intake, someone who just graduated this year was slated for a credibility interview, and this person got a visa refusal still. Okay, so anybody can be scheduled for a credibility interview. That's why we make this a compulsory process for you. All right. And so this email will always come from an email titled RID-Africa. If you don't get this email for any reason, make sure you contact any one of us in the international team, and we'll be able to provide that email for you. Because if you do not reply to this email to confirm to us that you have completed the process, the CAS team might have finished your CAS insurance assessment, but they will wait until they get that feedback from the international team. And if you've not confirmed to us that you've completed that process, your CAS request process will be delayed, and you'll be wondering why. Okay, you can also always check your spam emails for some of these emails, because sometimes these emails were sent, but it might just be sitting pretty in your spam email. All right, these are some FAQs. How do I request a CAS request form? That will be in the email, the CAS, your CAS request email when you get it. I have an unconditional offer, but I have not been contacted about getting my CAS. Sometimes it takes time for you to get the CAS request email, but if it takes too long, please send a follow-up email. I've made a request on my CAS request form. What can I do? Send an email to the CAS team to let us know, and send the corrected documentation. Okay. If you you should include details of what you submitted incorrectly on your email and what you want to correct. All right. More FAQs on CAS requests. If I've applied through a university approved agent, how do I request your CAS? This is a very important question, because we have people apply to the university through two processes. Either you have applied directly on the website, or you have applied through one of our approved agents. If you need information about our approved agents at the university, please check that on our website. On our country page, you will see the list of education consultants we work with in Nigeria. If you've applied through an agent, always ensure you contact your agent when you request your CAS. They are responsible for completing the necessary checks and upload some documents on your behalf to complete the process. If you proceed to make your CAS request by yourself, uploading your bank statement and TB test without the knowledge of your agent, your request will be voided, and this will further delay your CAS process. I know some people will say, no, I just need my agents to help me with the application. I'm going to do my CAS thing. Always get back to your agent when you get to the CAS process. There's some documents they need to upload on your behalf after they've done some prerequisite checks. Okay. Another thing, a lot of our applicants say, oh, if you have applied through an agent, you will need to go through the pre-CAS process. Yes, this is true. If you've applied through an agent, you will not need to go through the pre-CAS activity I talked about earlier. All right. But we expect that your agent should have seen your proof of funds, your TB test prior to them requesting your CAS. Okay. And I know some people say, oh, well, I was still able to continue. Maybe your agent decided to do that, but we as a university expect our agents to complete these checks before they issue your CAS. Okay. I'm emphasizing this because, for example, on the Telegram group, somebody may come and say, oh, why are some people not going through the pre-CAS process and some other are doing it? It might be that that applicant has applied through, that person has applied through an agent, okay? And the agent should have done all the checks that they need to do. How long is my CAS valid for? It's valid for 6 months from when the university issues it. I have a conditional offer to study at Salford. Where is my CAS? You will not be able to get your CAS if you still have a conditional offer. Okay, I'm experiencing a delay with my CAS. I'm experiencing delay with my CAS request. What should I do? The CAS team said they will get back to me on XYZ day, but it's been 1 to 3 days after that deadline. What should I do? These are the things you need to do. Ensure that you're constantly checking your emails, including your spam. Your CAS statement might actually be in your spam email. Ensure you've responded to any updated request from the CAS team. Maybe they asked you to send another bank statement or a clearer copy of some documents. Look out for those emails and ensure you've responded. Ensure you have completed the pre-CAS activity, especially for our direct students, sent to you via an email from irdafrica@salford.ac.uk. Once you complete the process, you've watched all the videos in the link, you're sure you can answer all the questions in the document attached, send a reply email to the same address that you've completed the precast activities, and you should receive an acknowledgement email for that, okay? Ensure you've received a date from the CAS team when they will get back to you. And please wait until that day. A day or two after is not much of a delay, to be honest, because there are high volumes just now, and sometimes we might experience delays. In fact, some people get their CASs sometimes before that the date the CAS team gives them. After all this is done and there's still no show, please follow up with the CAS team or feel free to get in touch with us. Okay, I hope you're taking notes. So that's the CAS process in summary. Again, meet your offer conditions, ensure you upload your right details on the Advantage link when you're requesting your CAS, complete the credibility interview process. We're not conducting an actual interview, we're just explaining what the pre-CAS process is, and the CAS team will be in touch with you. All right, moving on quickly to your visa application. How do you apply for your visa? I'm going to play this video. I hope the sound works well for you.
To study in the UK, most international students need a student visa, including students from the EU if they have not applied to the EU settlement scheme by 30th of June 2021. This video will explain how you can apply for your student visa from overseas once you have received your CAS. To get your visa, you'll need to pay a fee, including an application fee and immigration health surcharge to get access to the UK's National Health Service. You'll also need your CAS,
current passport, which should be valid and include a blank page for your entry clearance visa to be printed on,
financial documents, if required, TB screening certificate, if required,
and your ATAS certificate, if required for your course, your academic qualifications and English language certificates.
Once you have an unconditional offer and have received your CAS, you're ready to apply for your visa. You can apply up to 6 months before your course start date. For example, if your course starts in September, you can apply from March. Allow plenty of time, as it can take up to 3 weeks to get your visa from outside of the UK, or sometimes even longer in busy periods like August and September. You can check if your visa application centre offers faster services too. You must apply online for your student visa, and you may be required to go to your local visa application centre to provide biometric information. Complete the form carefully, taking care to check anything you don't understand. Remember to include the details of any dependents who will move to the UK with you. After you submit your application, you may be required to attend a visa interview. It is essential that you prepare for your visa interview, or you might not get a visa. During the interview, you may be asked questions such as, why do you want to study at the University of Salford?
What do you know about the location of the university and the city of Salford?
Why do you want to study in the UK? Why do you want to study your course? You should have a look on our website or attend events for more information about your course, as the Home Office will want to know that you have a genuine interest in the course. If you are using an agent, they will be able to help you, or speak to our team if you need any more advice. Good luck, and we can't wait to give you a warm welcome to the University of Salford soon.
Okay, I hope that video worked well for you at your side. Just before I move on to how to apply for your student visa, I just realized that there was something I didn't mention while I was talking about CAS. So we understand that a lot of applicants might be need to apply for their CASs beyond the deadline. The current deadline for your CAS request is the 15th of November. A lot of applicants have gotten in touch to say, my proof of funds will not be ready by the 15th of November, I meant to say. What do I do? Now, I've spoken with a lot of applicants and I've said things like, if you've already started your proof of funds and maybe your proof of funds will only be mature, say like 4, 5 days after the deadline, please ensure you contact the CAS team to let them know. Best to attach that bank statement in the email to prove to the CAS team that you already started your proof of funds, okay? And let them know that your proof of funds will only be mature on XYZ dates in November. And the CAS team can confirm to you if you are eligible for an extension. We cannot grant you a blanket extension here saying, oh no, don't worry, you can always apply for your extension till the till a particular time. Or maybe a friend of yours already got feedback from the casting to say, oh yes, you can request your CAS on the 20th of November, and then you want to use that as a template for yourself. They will attend to this request on a case-by-case basis. So please assess your personal situation and understand what you need and get in touch with the CAS team for yourself. I know that a lot of you are, again, I'm saying it again, a lot of you are in different groups, WhatsApp group, Telegram groups, where different information has been shared, and some of them are useful, some of them are quite erroneous. If someone shares an information relevant to their own admission procedure, understand that everybody's admission situation is different, okay? And when it comes to this CAS extension request, the CAS team will attend to applicants on a case-by-case basis. If you are someone who have not started your proof of funds at this time, honestly, I think you've missed out in this intake, because I'm 100% sure that the CAS team will not be attending to any extension beyond this month. Even for this month, after the 15th, we already have stated as a deadline. You still need to seek their permission to be sure that you will be allowed to still request for your CAS after that deadline. I'm saying it again, please ensure you get in touch with the CAS team to confirm if they will be granting you an extension. And it makes sense for people who have maybe whose POF would be ready, let's say 4 days, 5 days, 1 week. But you see, I'm thinking by the time, if your POF is not going to be ready, say by the 28th, 29th, I think you've missed out on this intake, to be frank. And I understand that some people will say, oh, but I already started my proof of funds, I already took money. We would always stick to our deadlines. At the University of Salford, we have very strict deadlines. So if you find yourself in this situation and you want to get confirmation for what it is for your case, please ensure you get in touch with the CAS team. We've shared the CAS email earlier. Now, how to apply for your student visa. What do you need to apply for your student visa? Of course, you need a CAS. This is your unique reference number, which you will receive in your CAS statement that would confirm that we will be your immigration sponsor for your studies. Some people, not everyone, this is not for everyone. Some people would need an ATAS certificate. If you would need this would have been a condition on your offer letter. So don't worry about it. If it wasn't stated on your in your offer letter as a condition, don't worry about it. Those this information applies to already know. And for those of you applying for an ATAS, it takes about 30 days, even longer, for the ATAS team to get back to you. And if you don't have your ATAS certificate by now, I honestly think you might not be able to make it for this. If you don't get your ATAS certificate before the end of this month, it might be too late for you to still continue with the January 2025 intake. Also, you need your proof of English, which is usually your WAEC in most cases, and maybe in few cases IELTS for those who have been assessed with IELTS. Whatever document you need will be stated on your CAS. Proof of your academic certificate and transcript, it will be stated on your CAS. Your transcripts, if they are not written in English or Welsh, you will need to provide a certified translation of your transcript. So for those of you who studied outside Nigeria, maybe in some European countries where your certifications are not in English or Welsh, you will need to provide an original certified translation of each of those documents. All right. What other document do you need for your visa? Your passport. It should still be at least, we always recommend that your passport should still have at least 6 months validity at the time you're applying for your visa, and a blank page, okay? And any other relevant document depending on your personal circumstance. So sometimes people will say, oh, do I need to put my my employment letter? Do I need to put my pay slip? Do I need to, you see, I will not be able to say a blanket yes or no to this question on this call, because people have different circumstances. Some people have not worked, some people are self-employed. So whatever relevant document, whatever document you think is relevant, suitable to your personal circumstance, you can include it in your visa application, okay? But I always say, which I would also say to you guys on Telegram shortly, less is more. Sometimes over documentation easily leads to a visa refusal. You know, sometimes I've seen visa refusals where the reason for the refusal is due to a document that was not even relevant to the visa application process. So you need to be sure of whatever, of the authenticity of the document you are including in your visa application, which is not listed on your CAS. If you are submitting any document that is not listed on your CAS, ensure is a verifiable document. This is very, very important. If you think you need more clarification on this, please feel free to get in touch and we can talk more about this, okay? You also need your tuberculosis test certificate, and this test can only be taken an approved UKVI clinic, okay? The link is there. And finally, you need your proof of funds, which we will be explaining. So this is the link for the TB test centers testing in Nigeria. We have three main centers, three main locations right now. We have the IOM in Abuja. In Lagos alone, we have about 4 centers. In fact, IOM has two centers right there in Ikeja. We have Q Life, we have St. Nicholas, we have the consultant practice. We also have a center in Benin, the IOM. Now, I want to draw your attention to people who have taken the TB test in the past, and then maybe your test came back negative and they found something and they've told you to wait you know, for X number of weeks, and that looks like you won't be able to make it for the January intake. This is what I've advised some applicants and it worked. Okay, maybe for example, you did your test at IOM and you might also want to check with another test center. Trust me, maybe for September intake, you did your TB test and they said you need to wait for maybe 10 weeks or 12 weeks for the, I know there's usually this feedback from them. You can go to another test center to take another test and see if it will come out the same way, to see if you can expedite the process, okay? That's briefly about the test. That's the test fees in USD. Sometimes the exchange rate in Naira varies. Your financial evidence, how much money do you need for your student visa? The money you need for your tuition student visa will be the balance of your tuition fee and the UKVI approved living cost. You already have your tuition fee stated on your offer letter. A lot of you got the discounted, the scholarship, the automatic scholarship. If you have a 2-1, you would have received £3,000. If you have a 2-2, you would have received £2,500 discount from your tuition fee. If you did not receive this, please get in touch, send an email to the admissions team. It might be an omission because this scholarship discount is an automatic discount for everyone on all our programs except our research programs and some selected health courses, okay? So when you take out your tuition fee discount of 2.5 or 3.5, £3,000, you have your actual tuition fee, and then you take your deposit from that amount, you know what your balance of tuition fee is. Now, the UKVI approved living cost is £1,023 for each month multiplied by 9. So that's a total of £9,207. That is the current UKVI approved living cost, okay? This is how you calculate your proof of funds. Just like I've said, your tuition fee is 16,560. You receive 2.5, for example. Some of you receive 3,000. Your living cost is 9,207. You've paid your deposit of 5,500. So this is how you calculate. Subtract your scholarship from your tuition fee. You have, so if you receive 2.5, for example, you have £14,060 left. From your £14,060, you subtract your £5,500. You are left with 8,560. That's your tuition fee balance after your deposit is paid. Now, so once you get that balance, you add it to the living cost of 9,207, and that gives you the total amount in pounds that you need to show for your visa application. Okay. Another thing I'd like to say here is when you are calculating your proof of funds, it is strongly advised that you do not use Rwanda rates. Yes, UKVI will be assessing your documents using Oanda, but understand that the situation we find ourselves in Nigeria is so unstable, and you don't want to have sleepless nights while you are counting your 28 days until the point you submit your visa application. Okay, I have advised in previous email sent, please use a minimum of 2,400 naira to a pound, or as much as your capacity, but please avoid using the exact amount you see on Rwanda. So some people will say, oh, on Rwanda, I got the round figure I need is 35 million naira. So I just added 2 million to it, and I think it should be enough. No, be very specific about your proof of funds calculation. Don't use random figures. When people call me and they tell me, well, I think I need 45 million naira, I tell you, no. Always have the pounds total in view, the balance of your tuition fee and your living expenses. The total is what you should always have in view, multiplied by a set exchange rate review, so that at any point in time, you are 100% confident that your proof of funds would have no issue. I think it's very sad. Of all reasons available for visa refusal, insufficient funds should not be a reason you should waste all that visa fees. So please always err on the side of caution. Some people will say, but I don't have enough money. I just want to manage. If something goes wrong, two things can go wrong. Either the exchange rate fluctuates and then your money becomes short. You will no longer have time to top up that money and start counting 28 days. Then you will either be left with the option of paying more fees you didn't even want to pay in the first instance. So I just encourage you, if you know you're not paying more tuition fee at this point in the cycle, ensure that you have made adequate calculation and you've made adequate allowance for fluctuations while calculating your proof of funds. I think this is clear enough. Okay, so from January 2nd, 2005, there will be an increase to the maintenance requirement for students from 2025. We're saying this update because we want to encourage anyone who is sure that they will follow through on this call to apply for their visa way before January. Because the living cost you would need to show at that time will be different. And if, for example, the CAS team already issued your CAS statement based on the proof of funds you presented in this current year, it will not be left for you to update your bank statement if your visa application runs into 2nd, 3rd, 4th January. Okay. So for universities outside London, of course, the University of Salford is outside London. You will now need to show 1,136 multiplied by 9, and that gives us a total of 10,224 as opposed to 9,207 pounds. Okay. The maximum amount that you can offset from your accommodation has also increased. So what this means is there are some people who actually pay for university accommodation. You can actually take out a set amount from that accommodation fee from your living cost, okay, and show a lesser living cost. But the maximum amount of money you can take away from your living cost from that point will be 483 pounds, okay? And also for the current intake, I think the maximum you can take out for your accommodation is 1,023 pounds as well. Okay, so please do all you can within your power to ensure you apply for your visa in December. For those of you applying for your CAS late, maybe the CAS team eventually grants you extension till 20-something, I don't know, whatever date. Just know that your CAS request, your CAS issuance will be coming in December. What is the implication of this timeline? If you request your CAS maybe on the 20-something, 24th, 25th, 26th, based on the permission the CAS team has given you, that doesn't mean the CAS team will turn around your CAS request in 4 days because it's getting late. No, it will still go through the entire process. So sometimes it can take up to 2 weeks or more, sometimes less. So imagine your CAS request going into December, 1st, 2nd week in December, as we approach the holidays. You know you will already be tensed, okay? And you will need to proceed with your visa application immediately. Another condition the CAS team would normally give when you apply for your CAS late is they would insist you make use of one of the priority services. And I hope you know that visa priority fee is about £500. which allows you to turn around your visa in 5 working days. And if you want the super priority option, that's another £1,000, which I believe a lot of us will not want to spend on this call. So please ensure you apply for your visa before January. In fact, apply for your visa once you get your CAS in December as well, for those of you who get your CAS in December, okay? How to prove you have money? You can prove this with a loan from government, a company, or a regulated student loan scheme, an official sponsorship, maybe from government or from university, maybe PTDF, TED Fund, NDDC, most of these multinationals in Nigeria, you know them. Your own money, that's your personal bank statement only. You can't use a company account. You can't use any other kind of account but your personal bank statement. You can use your parents' money. They must provide a letter confirming that they agree to you using it this way. There's also one option I didn't put here, which is not very common. You can use your spouse account if your spouse is already in the UK, okay? But you see, this option is something I always keep. If you think your situation falls in that, please contact me directly. You cannot use overdrafts. You cannot use cryptocurrency. You can't use stock shares document. You can't use your pension funds. You can't use bank accounts that are not regulated by financial regulatory body in the country. That's in Nigeria. You can't use bank accounts that do not use electronic record keeping. So I've seen so many microfinance statements in recent time that I've never even heard of. And to be honest, sometimes I don't even have the time to go check, to do the research around what CBN, their CBN status and approval and all that. But please, make sure any financial document you're using is a CBN regulated financial institution. That's all I'll say, okay? Your own money must be in a personal account. It must be in an account you have access to. If you're using your partner's or your parents' account, it must be an account they control. The money must have been acquired legally, and that's why you find UKVI ask question, what's the source of your money? Sometimes people apply for their visa and they get a follow-up email, from UKVI, and you must have immediate access to the money. You must have had the money for 28 days in a row. The 28 days is calculated by counting back from the date of the closing balance of the most recent evidence you provided. Okay, now that statement about you must have immediate access to the money. For those of you who want to use a fixed deposit account, can I use a fixed deposit account? Yes, but there are conditions that this account must meet for you to be able to use it. The maturity date of that fund must be way before the start date. I won't say more than this. If you're going to use a fixed deposit account, please ensure you get in touch with me so I can look at the document you intend to use, because banks, present this document in different manner. And also your financial evidence must have your name, the name of your bank, how much is in the account, and we must be able to convert that money, and it must be accurate with the pounds balance you need to show. And we may need, the UKVI also said they might need to verify your evidence with the bank. And if they cannot verify your bank statements, your application may be refused. So please take notes, okay? I think I've talked about this already. Determining your FX rate, I've really emphasized this. The UKVI uses the Owanda.com website to access this. But like I said, please use an exaggerated exchange rate to calculate your funds. So as of yesterday, the exchange rate was around 2,122, 2,123. I would never advise you use 2002 because we can wake up tomorrow in Nigeria and the exchange rate has shot up. So that's why I've advised you use a minimum of 2,400. I also sent this in an email last week. So please always avoid a borderline balance in your bank statements, no matter what. Always plan to get it right the first time. How much are your visa fees? Visa fees are £490. But when you're filling the form on the website, it usually comes up in USD. So it will be somewhere around 650-ish pounds, thereabouts. And then you also need to pay immigration health surcharge. Also, for those on Telegram, I dropped a very lengthy message about how to calculate this. So you can take a screenshot of this. You can calculate how much you need to pay exactly. So if your course is for 12 months, you'll be paying around £1,164. And if your course is for which will be somewhere around 1,500 and something dollars. If your course is for more than 12 months, it will be a little bit more, okay? It will be around 1,552 pounds, which would be about 2,100, depending on the exchange rate on the visa application website. So what I'd say to us regarding the visa payment fees is, before you start your visa application, always ensure you already have a card you're going to pay your visa fees with. Why? Because, for example, I got a call yesterday. Someone said, oh, my card has declined like 7 times and I can't pay for this. I can't pay my visa fees anymore. And it's been a while I've been on the application. Before you start your visa application, before you get to the point of submitting your visa application, ensure you already have your card standby. Because when you get to the point where you need to pay, and you don't pay for an extended period of time, that form can time out. Sometimes you might need to start the application all over again. So please make sure you get a card. Sometimes our USD cards in Nigeria work. You need to double check with your banks, just like I said earlier. Or you can look for a trusted contact card that you can use for your visa application. You need that card for your IHS fee. You will need it for your visa fee and also for priority visa or any other service you might want to pay for at Teleperformance, okay? So all this, we're saying that some people on this call that already have their visa outcome, congratulations on your visa success. So what do you need to do if you already have your visa? Now you just need to wait until the online registration process for the January 2025 intake opens and you'll be notified via email. That is all you need to do while you continue your personal preparation, okay? I hope we've been able to cover enough details about the visa. If there are still gray areas, please feel free to drop your question in the chat box or you contact us afterwards, okay? Now to an important part of your admission process, accommodation. I'm just going to play this quick video to just highlight what our accommodation looks like at Salford. Let me know if the sound is okay.
The accommodation options around the Greater Manchester area are quite varied. One of the options is to stay in student halls. We have a variety of student accommodation on campus, and that is managed by a partner of ours, a company called CRV. They have different sorts of accommodation, from ensuite to sharing a bathroom and kitchen with other people. So there's different options there.
For me, student accommodation was a good choice because it was affordable and it was also really close to the university, and also the closeness to the transport network and grocery shops around.
Our student accommodation is a great choice for you. It has great facilities like gyms and social spaces, and it's a safe and secure place to start your university life.
The accommodation costs were affordable as all bills were included, such as electricity, Wi-Fi. It was easy to make friends as they organized events where I got to meet fellow students that were living in the same accommodation. I would advise international students to use campus living villages as it's the university's accommodation provider. And in the event that you do not get a spot into the university or are denied a visa, they'll be able to refund you your deposit.
If you prefer to live off campus, then there are options you can explore in the private housing market. Most private rented accommodation doesn't include things like water, electricity, gas, Wi-Fi, and so you will need to factor that in. We would always recommend you using Manchester Student Homes for your private rental search. They only use reputable landlords, and they can give you advice on your rights as a tenant.
I have a private room which is en suite. The accommodation is bills inclusive. I live with other few people. This area is called West. It's just a stone throw to the tram station.
We have great transport links around us, so it's always a good idea to check out accommodation in other parts of Greater Manchester. I would suggest looking at Bolton, Trafford and Stockport.
Traveling to the university is either by me taking bus 50, which is free for the university students. Alternatively, I work, which is about 25 minutes to the campus.
When you're looking at private accommodation, you will have to sign a contract. This is a tenancy agreement, which is a legal document. It's really important that you read it carefully and get someone to check it out before you sign it. We recommend that you use Manchester Student Homes, who offer a free contract checking service. When you sign a tenancy agreement, you may be asked for a UK guarantor. If you haven't got one of these or don't know what it is, just contact Ask Us, because we work with a company called Housing Hand that will act as a guarantor for you for a small fee. Have a look on our website to get an idea of the cost of living in Manchester and Salford.
When you're looking for accommodation, I'll recommend you start as soon as possible, as accommodation gets booked very fast.
If you choose to use private accommodation, you can follow the University of Salford Students Guideline to be able to guide you through booking an accommodation safely.
If you need any advice around anything to do with accommodation or anything else for that matter, contact Ask Us. They're always there to help you.
Okay. All right. I hope the video played okay.
The accommodation options around the...
Okay, so these are just highlights of our accommodation at the University of Salford, the Peel Park Quarter, the John Lester and Eddie Coleman courts. I always say when it comes to accommodation, it's a very personal journey because we all have different preference. We all have different resources and all. So best you check out these options on the university website and understand it for yourself, okay? Most university accommodations are usually bill inclusive with all those facilities like the Wi-Fi, on-site parking, free on-site gym, and 24/7 security supports. Okay, and you can check the accommodation website, the link below. What are the options for the University of Salford students? You can either consider staying at the purpose-built student accommodation to house shares or flats. And just know that accommodation is one of the most overwhelming aspect of your admission process. I'm just telling you, this is not to scare you, but it's just the truth, because getting accommodation can be a very stressful process. It costs you a lot of money, which you need to prepare for. And that's why UKVI is asking you to show your proof of funds, okay? And we're just going to share this information on accommodation under this subheadings: the essential information when looking for accommodation, how to find purpose-built student accommodation, that's student halls, how to find private rented accommodation, that's house shares, flat, or short-term or temporary accommodation. Now, for what are the top tips you need to have when you're looking for accommodation? You have to be vigilant, because there's so many platforms where you can search for accommodation. A lot of them will be legitimate, but you have to be on guard all the time so that you don't get scammed of your money, okay? Never pay money unless you're sure that the situation or the contact or the connect is genuine. And, you know, I'm of the opinion that, I mean, if I were resuming in January, I won't pay for an accommodation I've not viewed, except you have a trusted friend or family member who is already in Manchester who can help you view a property, okay? I think you shouldn't commit financially to any accommodation option you've not viewed. Also, just like I say, you need to book a viewing. You should always view a property before you make payment. Look thoroughly at the whole property and use shelter viewings checklist to spot signs of repair or other issues. The link is there on this page. You can take a screenshot if you want, and on how to as a guide to checking issues, how to check issues with accommodation. Another thing is to read the accommodation contract. So if you've already booked an accommodation and you've been given a contract, don't assume. It's always best to err on the side of caution. Always read. It's boring, yes, but always read through the contract so you find any loopholes that may be there. Also, make sure you understand the cancellation policy, because different accommodation providers have different cancellation policy, and make sure you understand yours fully before you sign so that you know what your options are. Also, you need to be prepared to pay a deposit. Most accommodation options in the UK would require a deposit, which is different from your rent, which is different from your actual rent. Okay, as you start to make your inquiries, you would get this information I'm talking about. Also, you need to arrange a UK-based guarantor. Most accommodation providers will require that you have a UK-based guarantor. A guarantor is someone who agrees to pay your rent or damages if the tenant fails to do, just like people who have guarantors in Nigeria when they want to take a loan from a bank. And so that's a policy in the UK. You need to have a UK-based guarantor, but you can check for more information on our website for that. So if you want a purpose-built student accommodation, so there are some facilities that are student accommodation, they are student halls, but they're not owned by the university. Okay, that's a popular option for students, and there are plenty of students all across Salford, which are just 10 to 15 minutes walk from the campus. This all caters to various needs, including your ensuite room, budget-friendly, shared bathroom flats, and self-contained studios. You can check for more information at the link below. For those who want private rented accommodation, I know most of us prefer this option because you want to share costs, you want more flexibility and more freedom around your accommodation option. This will be an option for you. So you can share houses, apartments, and flats. This is very popular. There are loads of house shares options in Salford and Manchester, ranging from 3 to 4 rooms up to 7 rooms in some of those facilities. And the flat can either be a single occupant, couple, or we even want to stay with friends. Okay, there's numerous platforms where you can find these accommodation options, and we have listed some in the next slide. And we are saying that please be aware of any potential scam. Never pay money unless you're sure the situation is legitimate, because the university will not take responsibility for any problem. Okay, so these are platforms where you can find accommodation in the private rental market. So this will include accommodation for students.com, student.spareroom.co.uk, rightmove.co.uk/student accommodation, spareroom.co.uk, zoopla.co.uk, openrent.co.uk, studentroom.co.uk. So you can take a screenshot of that and kickstart your accommodation process as soon as you are ready. A lot of us will not be able to find our accommodation before we arrive. So you have to make a short-term arrangement on arrival. So maybe you have your visa, you don't even know where you're going to stay. It is very important you make provisions for things like Airbnb, a short-let hotel, homestays, or and you can also use booking.com. I don't think it's advisable for you to arrive Manchester and you don't know where you will pass the night. What I noticed with the last intake was that people who had booked these Airbnbs or the options on booking.com a lot earlier got cheaper prices. Okay, so some of them booked for a week, some booked for 2 weeks. My advice to you is if you already know you won't be able to sort out private rental accommodation in advance, or you don't have anybody in the UK that can help you follow through that process, please make provision for funds to book an Airbnb on arrival, or an homestay option. The link is there, or you go on booking.com. All right. These are just pictures of accommodation on campus. This is what the room looks like. Some of the rooms, not all of them, look like these are shared spaces. The lounge in some of our students' halls, another shared area where you can play games. And now onto the Telegram group. I can already see in the chats that some people are saying, I want to join the Telegram group. An email was sent specifically last week, Tuesday, inviting you to join the Telegram group. We had a Telegram group for the September 2024 intake. Okay, I know there were some of you on that group, but you have deferred until January 2025. So we have now officially closed the September 2025 Telegram group, and we have sent the link to anyone who has an offer for January 2025. And I gave a window period from Tuesday last week until Friday, according to the email. But in actual fact, that link only expired yesterday around 6 p.m. But we still have a lot of people who missed this deadline. If you missed the deadline, you will now have to send a request individually. You can't send a request on this platform. If you drop the question in the question and answer on this platform, you will not be attended to. You will need to email me, send me an email, and I'll tell you exactly what to do. Please note that requesting individually may not be, the request response may not be instant. because adding people individually after this deadline now, we have to check to make sure these are not just random requests from just anyone. So if you have missed the deadline, please take a screenshot of this particular slide. If you missed the deadline to join the Telegram group, what you need to do is to send me an email with these instructions and you will be added to the group. Okay, if you send me a random email and you just put a one line, please add me to the Telegram group. I'm not going to respond to the email. So please follow these instructions and I would add you to the Telegram group. It might not be instant, okay? If you think it has taken more than maybe 1 or 2 days, give me a call, okay? Or send me a follow-up email and I'll add you to the Telegram group. If you have any questions, so let me know. Please note that this is the only official platform that we have for the January 2025 intake. We also have a WhatsApp group that's been in existence for a while now, where we have students who have finished from the university years ago. Apart from that, and it's titled UOS Africa 2 group. If that's not the WhatsApp group you're in, then any other WhatsApp group you're in is not the university official WhatsApp group. I'm aware some people have told me that there's some WhatsApp group, maybe by some current students or some previous students. It's fine. I mean, you can gather as many information, network as much as possible. Anything that will help you, facilitate your admission process is okay, but we would only take responsibility for the information we share on the official Telegram group, okay? So please do well to join. There are people who have crossed a lot of milestones and they will be happy to share their experience. I may not be on this group all the time. If you ask me, send me a message. I may not respond, but there will be other people that have answers to your questions. And we'll continue like that, supporting one another till we get to our final destination. Okay? And this is our contact details. My name is Adedayo Turojayi, as so many of you know. And I also have my manager here, who I would bring on the screen shortly to speak with us. His name is Mr. Quentin Albert, is the regional manager for Africa. I also have one other colleague from the international office whom you'll be receiving emails from the IRD Africa especially, and his name is Mark Knight. I'm going to bring them up just now. And this brings us to the end of the presentation. Thank you so much for listening. And I'd like to invite Quentin and Mark, if you could please turn on your camera and come up.
Hi, everyone.
Yep. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Quentin.
Hi, Adedayo. Hi, everyone. Just a quick one. Thank you, Adedayo, for the presentation.
Thank you.
Please, everyone, just be please mindful that what Adedayo just said about your full details. A simple email, and I get it all the time, a simple email with a hire, it's not going to work. You need to, any communication with the university, please, your full name, student ID number, if possible, what course you inquiring about or anything like that as well. As much information as possible, because if we get just a hire, we're going to have to send you an email back. Okay, can you give me a bit more details? Give me a bit more reference around it. Just for example, on this call alone, we've got 253 potential students. If one out of that 253 send me a hire, I'm not going to know which one of the 253 you are. So please just give us as much information as possible, and then we can kind of help you better with that. And please do take all the advice that Adedayo has mentioned in this presentation. This is not just stuff that we've kind of stumbled across. This is stuff that we've come across through years of experience. Adedayo has been in the industry for many, many years. This is advice that we're giving you. I'm originally from South Africa, and we have a phrase in South Africa. I like using my analogies. You can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. We can give you all the information. We cannot force you to use it. So just be mindful of that. Please do take heed of everything that Adedayo said. We're trying to help you through this process as best we can.
Thank you very much, Quentin.
Just one more thing. There was some queries about the WhatsApp groups. I'll post the links for the 2 WhatsApp groups. I'll post the link for the WhatsApp group now. However, don't just send me a hire. Please add me to the group, or can you please add my cousin, brother, sister, auntie, uncle, or anything like that. I need you to send me a copy of your unconditional offer letter, one to the group, and I'll add you after that. I'll post the link now, but I need a copy of your unconditional, not a student ID number, nothing else, no other form of identification, unconditional offer letter, and then I'll get you added to the group. Okay, thank you again, Adidaya. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Quentin. Mark. Hiya.
Hello. I don't have much else to add to that. Those of you who need precast activity, you'll be getting emails from me or Adidaya regarding the precast activity. You should get like an email going out if you need to do that, and then I'll send a confirmation to the CAS team. Yeah, I usually get it done within a couple of days. Just depends how busy we are. But yeah, and if you've got any general questions, feel free to email Adidaya, Quentin, or myself, or IRD Africa, or Salford International. We'll pick that up. I'd recommend IRD Africa for your queries, just because it's less busy than the general Salford International inbox, which is the entire world emailing us. So for a speedier response, I would recommend IRD Africa.
Well, thanks a lot, Mark. That's so useful. So any questions around your CAS request, please feel free to email IRD Africa. And please always check your spam emails. You never know, the email you're waiting for might just be lying in your spam. I think my colleagues have been answering all the questions in the chat box already. I don't know if there are still questions that are not yet answered. Just looking through the questions. I think most of the questions have been answered. Someone is asking, what's the duration of the MSc Accounting and Finance course? Most programs are usually 12 months. The duration of your course is usually stated on your CAS. Okay, I think on your offer letter as well. How long does it take to get a CAS after a request has been made? Depends. It could take anywhere between, I don't know if there's been some request turnaround in 5 working days, but it could take about 2 weeks sometimes. And the CAS team would always give you a specific date when they'll get back to you. While you're waiting for that date to arrive, make sure you complete your pre-CAS process, okay? How much is to be shown in my proof of funds? That's a random question. We've answered this somewhere in the presentation. Is there a June intake for project management in construction? No, we have June intake for project management. And the June intake courses we have are specifically business courses, okay? So if your course is not a business course, the next available intake for your program will be September 2025. So please always check 2 particular pages on the website. Number 1, the intakes available page. So on the university homepage, if you search the box, just click on the search box and type intake available, you will be able to see all the programs available for the intake you're looking at. And if you want to know the deadlines, for example, things like CAS deadlines, application deadlines, you would find it on the international application deadline page, okay? Always look out for these pages on the website. I understand that a lot of us will not be able to follow through for the January intake, and it's okay. The only difference between now and June, those who are starting in June, is just maybe 2 months. Because if you go to the international application deadline page right now, you will find that we already have a CAS deadline for the June intake applicant. So I know some of you know, some of you were very upset when you were speaking with me. I don't want to start in June, I want to start in January. Even for those starting in June, they don't have forever. They have to start their application now. And once we're done with the CAS issuance for January intake, we will still start issuing CASs for June. And you will be on your way to applying for your visa for June intake if you can't make it for January, okay? I'm still yet to receive an unconditional offer, and I've emailed the admissions team, okay? If you don't have your unconditional offer, please email the admissions team, or you can also give me a call, and I can help you check why this delay exists. Just like Quentin said, I get a lot of emails just saying hello, and they just go straight into your narration. You don't have your student ID in your email. You don't have your full names in your email. Please Make it count. Make every email conversation count. Once you send, you're sending an email, ensure you put your ID number either in the body of the email or in the subject of the email. That way, it's easy for us to just check the systems for any updates and apply to your record, and we'll share with you instantly, okay? Please, let's take note of that. I don't know if there's any other question we've not answered in the chat box. When you pay your 5.5, will I still pay enrollment fee when registering? That's a very good question. No. So there's no payment due on enrollment. When you're registering at the university, there is nothing due. But the next installment after your 5,500 deposit will be 1 month after the course start date. So for example, the course start date is the 13th of January, okay? And you've already paid your 5.5. The next installment will be somewhere 13th of February. Okay, that's 1 month after the start date. So what you should just do is start preparing. If you're a UG student, you will be able to pay in 5 installments. If you're a PG student, you'll be able to pay in up to 7 installments. Okay. And for those who have received their visa, like I said earlier, you will be getting registration instructions shortly. You would get the email when it's time for you to register. What if you need an extension beyond the CAS date? I already dealt with that. You need to get in touch with the CAS team. But I think we're absolutely sure, Quinton, we're absolutely sure that CASs will not be issued anytime past this November. In fact,
No.
Yeah. So
I already said something. I already mentioned to one student that was asking me about December. It's absolute no. You need to defer, to be honest. I'm sorry I can't soften the blow for you. You know, at the end of the day, and then also just bear in mind, like I've said a few times in the chat, if you're applying this late for a CAS or applying this late for your visa, again, I'm not going to force you. I'm not going to tell you, but you should be thinking about applying for priority visa or super priority visa, because you know as well as I do that everything's going to be shutting down just now for Christmas, and you're not going to make your deadline, and the schools will be very reluctant to give you extension for arriving on time. Something else again, just please, if you're asking for an extension because you're trying to find a cheaper flight, it's not going to be granted, unfortunately. You know, we've got to be realistic about this. You're coming to the UK to study. You've got to be here by the time your study starts. If you're going to sit around waiting for a cheaper flight, and that's why we tell everyone to apply for their visa as soon as possible. The sooner you get your visa, the sooner you can book your flight, the sooner you can book your accommodation. Everything becomes cheaper if you do it in advance. If you leave it to the last minute, it's going to become more expensive. You're even applying for your CAS, it's going to take longer if you leave it to the last minute. The earlier you apply, the better. If you come in now for June intake and you want to start applying, you want to start getting your proof of funds ready now and everything else like that, bonus. It'll just make things a lot quicker. And again, don't leave paying your deposit up until the last minute. Pay your deposit as soon as you can. Meet all your conditions as soon as you can. If you've got a WAEC or NECO or whatever outstanding, sort that out as soon as. We're at a point now where, again, I've mentioned in the chat, it's first come, first serve. So the sooner you get your documents in place, the sooner you meet all your conditions, you know, you're going to be first in line to get that place on the course. Otherwise, you're going to end up getting deferred if you meet your conditions too late.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Quinton. So I think we've pretty much touched on everything that we need to touch on just now. I don't know if there are, just looking through the chat box, see if there are other questions that we've not answered. I've applied for my CAS. So another thing I need to talk about is people who want to pay fees. I've talked about it, but I need to emphasize, if you're paying, if you still want to confirm your place on a program that is almost filled up, it will be best to use an online payment because that payment option is instant, okay? That payment option is instant. For Flywire, it will take like 2 days for it to clear into the account. And please don't be over optimistic. You might still make that payment and the admissions team might still come back to say that your offer has been deferred until another intake. Just because this information we share to you, there information that comes up in real time. So whatever we tell you about a capacity now can change in the next 1 hour because that information is not just for Nigerian applicants. It's the information for everyone from everywhere in the world. Okay, and For there anything accommodation, those of you asking for university accommodation, you can send an email to the accommodation team. They'll answer your questions. Okay. Someone said, okay, I'm just reading. What's the arrival date to join for the PhDs? For PhDs, your arrival date will be stated on your CAS. If you think you'll be arriving late for any reason, which we don't encourage, you might need to get permission from your school to confirm to you when exactly how many more days you can arrive. And my colleague just said something. Quincy just said something about booking tickets. So, for example, we have people right now who already have their visas, but they've not booked their tickets. And maybe, of course, we understand, this process requires a lot of financial resources. People will say, oh, I'm still looking for money and all of that. Please, once you get your visa confirmation, book your tickets. But the sad reality is that those of you who would get your visa very late in the cycle, and you will still want to take another two weeks thereabout or more to book your ticket, because if you book it a bit further, you get a cheaper price. That means you'll be planning to arrive late. So please, as soon as you get your visa, endeavor to book your tickets as soon as possible, so you won't have to arrive late. Some schools are very strict, especially for people doing health courses, nursing. You can't arrive late. For the nursing, top-up nursing applicants, please ensure you're making your plan as soon as possible to get your ticket booked right after your visa approval. Okay. I think I've covered.
Students.
All right. I think we've covered pretty much everything. Just looking through, I paid half of my tuition fee. When am I going to pay the rest? Whatever tuition fee you've paid now, whatever installment option you set up during your registration is what will apply. Okay. So you have to wait until your registration to see what the payment plan will look like. For the POF, the record is electronic. Is electronic record for my bank app. Okay, so I understand this question. What we mean by electronic record, I mean, some bank statements don't have like a chronological order how the transaction happened. Well, I think most banks don't have that, but I've seen some, like that don't have that format. I think most banks would have like an electronic record of how the transactions, both the debit and the credit happened. So I think you should be fine, but you should be uploading soft copy of your bank statement from obtained from your bank. So most banks sign the bank statements. An electronic copy is just fine. Just make sure that whatever you're uploading on your visa application is very, very clear. If you think you're not confident enough during your visa application with uploading your documents, you can opt for the assisted service at the Visa Application Center at a cost, and they will help you upload your documents. If you have uploaded your documents and you forgot something, you can still upload it at the Visa Application Center. Please note, for those of you applying for your visa, as we get into the busy period, you will find that it's very difficult to get booking dates. Okay, so what happens is that you end up paying for some sort of priority option. So you'd see, except you find a date very far. So sometimes you're booking your visa appointment, and you find prime time and all those options that will cost you maybe extra 40-something thousand, 50K. Sometimes you don't have a choice. In addition to your IHS, your visa fee, you might also have to pay for those services. Okay, and paying for those services doesn't guarantee the turnaround time of your visa application. Visa application turnaround time is 3 weeks. That's 15 working days. Sometimes some people get their visa outcome a lot faster, and some people get delayed for no reason. Sometimes you might get a follow-up email, not straightforward email from the UKVI saying your application was not straightforward. Give us more time. Sometimes they'll ask for more documents and tell you to send it within 10 working days. Sometimes they will just tell you the application is not straightforward and they don't say anything more. Please, if you find out that your visa application has lasted for more than 15 working days and you don't have feedback, you can contact UKVI either via a paid email or a paid phone call. That information is on the UKVI website. Okay, don't just keep quiet and wait endlessly. If it's been more than 15 working days, please get in touch with UKVI. But if they've come back to tell you that your application is not straightforward and to take X number of days, wait for that period and then get back to them after that period has elapsed. Okay? Thank you very much. I think we are coming to the end of this presentation today. I think as much as possible, I can see some people raising their hands. We expect you to drop your question in the chat box, because if we start responding to people who raise their hands now, we will not leave here today, and so many people want to do the same thing. So please type your question in the chat box and we will answer your question. If you want to defer your admission, I've said it in the presentation slide, log into your application portal and defer as required, okay? If you did not apply to the university directly, if you apply through an agent, please contact your agent and they will help you with that process. For those of you asking, why are some people not going through the precast process and vice versa? Everyone who has applied to the university directly will be taking the precast process, and those who have applied through our approved agent are meant to be guided with the precast process, guided by the agents. Now, going through the agent doesn't exempt you from showing all that you need to show or preparing all that you need to prepare for your visa application. So please take note. And for those of you who have applied directly, don't feel like, oh, some people were giving a special attention or anything like that, okay? And if there's still anything after this time you don't understand, drop us a message via email, drop me a message on WhatsApp. I've told you several times, if you want to if you send me a message on WhatsApp and you think I'm taking too long, ring me up and I'll get in touch with you. I think that's all for me. Quentin, I don't know if you want to add anything. Mark?
Yeah, just to reiterate, pretty much what Adi Dyer's just said. If you're going through an exempt agent as such, or whether you're applying directly, either way, you still need to provide your TB certificate. You still need to provide your bank statement. There's no cutting corners. It needs to be done. The only reason why we allow some agents to do it is because it fast tracks the CAS post test, in terms of the CAS don't need to look at as many documents, because then they can get the direct students' documents checked quicker. Because it takes away that onus where the agents will be checking those documents on our behalf. Either way, they'll still be checked. If any agent is saying that they're not checking the documents, then let us know and we'll take care of that agent, because that is the whole purpose, is that they should be checking those documents to make sure that you're fully prepared for your CAS, to make sure you're fully prepared for your visa as well, and give you the best chance of getting a visa and getting a successful application. At this point in time, you don't want to be taking any risks and potentially losing money through not having the right documents in place. That's why we check all the documents for you, or we get the agents to check it on our behalf.
Okay, thanks a lot, Quentin. All right, Mark, final words from you. Anything else?
No final words. Just good luck with everybody with your visa applications and everything. Yeah, and we look forward to joining. Hoping to see you in September or June or whenever you're joining us. So
great. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mark. Thanks everyone for joining. I will leave this meeting on till 3:30 for some people who might join after we're done with this presentation, so they won't say, oh, the meeting ended before I joined. Thank you so much for your time. I wish you all the best. Please don't get tired. It is a very daunting process. It can be very stressful. I can sense it when some of you put your calls through. You sound very stressed, and I know it's a very expensive process, but anything worth doing well at all is worth doing well. And please be sure that we are available for you anytime. And please try to restrict your follow-up calls and messages to working hours, because sometimes outside of work hours, it's maybe difficult for us to keep up. If we respond, this will be at our discretion, but we would respond to you normally between working hours. And even during work hours, sometimes we're in meetings, so there might be delays in responses and all. So please be rest assured that you have our support, and we wish you all the best for the January 2025 intake. You want to say something, Quentin?
Yeah, just one more thing on a slightly more personal note. When you're coming over now, you don't need to bring all your spices and everything from Nigeria. There are shops you can get it here. I buy everyone here knows about my puff addiction. I get my puff at the local shops. That you can get it all over here. You can get your Maggi chicken stock, everything you can think of in Nigeria you can get here. Except maybe my jollof spice. My jollof spice you can get here, but you pay a lot for it, and I prefer a specific brand. So certain things like that, yes, fine, bring over. But you know, even when I came over to the UK from South Africa, I bought over a whole lot of stuff from South Africa that I didn't think I'd ever get here.